Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the vlog. I have this 2014 Audi A6. Really nice car. Customer had a system done before, and reached out to me. He had a bunch of gear that he didn't like. The car didn't sound very well to him. So he reached out to me and asked me for some advice on what he should do. And I gave him a couple of tips and things I thought might help him out. And ultimately, his system got to work to a certain degree, but he's still not happy. So what we're gonna do is what we should do is what we first did was he had the company that originally put the system together take out the DSP amplifier that you had put in, because I guess he just didn't favor it, but you know, DSP amps are DSP amps. And now he's gonna go with external amplifiers and a better DSP. And sometimes you have to do that to get the ultimate out of your system if you want to go to that level. So what we're going to do is first break the system down, what he had, short of what they took the amp out earlier, and we're going to go through the system. So there's going to be little things. We're going to replace the tweeter in the dash. We're going to obviously look at the mid-range in the door, and we're always going to check out and see why things are the way they are in the car. It was a Bose system. So they had originally had the DSP tied into the Bose amp, and then they went to a Mo bridge, which is the right thing to do. And now we're going to, like I said, take everything apart, take the doors, the back doors, and the system apart. He has a W7 in here. He's got the Mo bridge in here already. So we're going to obviously fix all this. I already took apart some of it. We're going to make it so even if he has to change the battery, because right now I took the screws out of the amp to get to it, because if he had to change his battery, this would all have to come apart. And as you can see, there's one screw here and there's a screw behind here and two screws up here, and you'd never really get that out and service it. So we're going to go through the whole thing, do what we need to do to make it perform the way it should be, and go from there. So it's not bad setup, it's just a choice setup. So I'm not going to film taking the car apart, because you know, I'll show you what I find when I take it apart, but we'll go from there after that. So stay tuned. We got the door panel off, and I'm not sure if the customer elected to do sound treatment on the door, but there's always should be some type of sound treatment in my recommendation, because it just helps the door sound a lot more solid and gives you a lot more reactive experience and energy. Another thing is that this is an enclosure, and when the factory built it, they made it so it plays bass because it's ported. Now when you put an aftermarket speaker in there, it's no longer built for this ported driver. So when you tune it, it's a little complicated to make it sound right, because it's a vent, it's got a certain thing. Like I said, this is an enclosure. The best bet at that point would be to open it up so it's no longer vented, so that literally the sound utilizes the entire door, because most 6.5-inch speakers are made for free air design, and it hinders the mid bass energy, because when you have a port, it's only tuned to the port energy of the port. So literally it won't play anything higher or lower than what the port is designed to play. So we're gonna have to do something about that, and chances are we're gonna have to just pull out the speaker, which I already unscrewed it. We're gonna have to vent it in the back side. So we're gonna open this up, obviously take the driver out of here and vent it so it plays in the back of the enclosure, so it utilizes the entire door as an enclosure versus just this box. Just little things that people rarely ever check when they do a system or when they know about systems. So we'll go from there and take that apart. So we pulled out the rear deck and sound deadened it. Now we got to put it back in. Not much complicated. The rear deck was a pain, but we also pulled the stock woofer out. So now it's got a straight shot to the trunk. So we'll get that put back together and start working on sound deadening the doors. So it's not that complicated, just sound deadening doors. We got to roll the windows up, get it all fixed the way we need it to be fixed, and go from there. So we got some wiring removed, because we did find some wires, like wires going places, and I still don't know what the heck this is for. And this is cheap wiring too, so we got to pull that out, pull this red wire out because it's running to the front, and we still got to run a DRC wire. But we're finding all kinds of goodies. All kinds of goodies in here. That happens when you take apart a car and find stuff. You're going to find whatever the the installer before you did, and if he did a halfway job, it'll be halfway. If it's great, then it's great. So we're gonna do some sound deadening. I like when they actually put a crossover in the door when they have a tweeter that goes in there, but we're gonna run it all active. So we're gonna run a wire from here through the factory grommet. We gotta take all this apart. We already taken the side paneling apart, and then we're gonna run all the wires to run full active in the system. So it's just a little bit of work. We're gonna do sound deadening on here and on the back side. I mean, it sounds solid, but we're gonna do some sound deadening like we kind of did over there. We already did the left side. And so we just gotta run wires, pull this apart, cut all this out, and test the tape, and let's see what happens. Let's see. This is actually soldered. So we just gotta pull all this test the tape out and see how magic it is in here. I mean, the job wasn't horrible. The job was actually decent, but I'm not a big test tape guy. So let me get this apart. Yeah, there's a lot on here. the sound deadening on this door is done. We still got to do a one more front door. We still got to put some wiring together here. We ran the wire in the door. We have to do a repair, solder a wire here because it was kind of frayed. So we're gonna clean that up too. That way we don't have any bad connections. And then we'll put the speaker in the appropriate way. And so we got the whole door panel sound deadened. We actually made a larger, we actually opened up this cabinet because it was a vented cabinet, and if you put a speaker that needs a ton of air, like most mid-bass drivers that go in a door, and you put it in a ported enclosure or even a sealed enclosure, unless that woofer mid-bass driver can be placed in an actual mid-bass in a box, it's not going to perform the way it should be. It'll work, it just won't be very well-rounded like it's designed to be. So you're going to run into some acoustical challenges. So we're going to put the driver in here, we're going to put some connectors on here, we're going to put some poly, some rings around here and get it all put together, and we'll show you that. We actually have the mid-range installed already. We had to turn it sideways because the original one was screwed in. As you can see, the screw holes were correct, but they were too large, and they actually put the speaker in and drilled out the holes. These are actually the factory screws that come from the manufacturer. What we'll do is we'll probably seal these up real quick, a little bit of hot glue or something in there, just to keep them so it doesn't vent into there, and then we should be wrapped up. But other than that, is once we put this together, we'll show you that image. The tweeter's already in, and then we're gonna wrap up the front, almost everything in the front, and then we'll start working on the rear, which is going to take the most energy to get what we want out of it, because we're putting a lot of amplifiers in such a small area, and that's going to take a little bit of time. Also, we got to run a DRC up front. Sweet. show you that next mod. So we got the Scout Skins ring on there. So we put in there, completes that. Everything's back together. Like I said, we had the tweeter done. It's probably dirty. You can see it from here. Tweeter's pointing up. So yeah, now we can put the door panel back on and we can move on with the rest of the install. Looking good. So I worked on this Audi. It's been a lot of time because we've been really busy. I've been busy, been jumping around, running shop things. And so what we wind up doing on this vehicle, you saw we did a three-way. We did the Hertz with the tweeter here, mid-range and the mid-bass. We did sound deadening on the doors, fixed the enclosures for the door panels. We did the Focal K2s in the back and the tweeter. A little overkill, but hey, the customer had the equipment. He's already spent the money, and it sounds really, really nice. I think they need to be toned down a little bit, but I'll let the customer figure out what he likes, then we'll figure it out. So then we wind up putting the DSP in there. So we basically modified this whole section. We put a 6-channel amp here, so you see an SR 600.6, and then we have the cable run out here because we're going to put the cover back on. You got the Bit 1 HD Virtuoso there, and then up in the top corner we have a Mobridge DSP there, and then we wind up putting the amps into here. I'll show you that in 1 second. So I built him a custom amp rack here. It's got the Audison SR 5.1 running the mid bass here. As you see, we have all the wires around here. This was already modified to some degree, so we just basically kept it the same. And we got his JL 1001 here running his 12W7, or maybe it's a 10W7. I don't know, but it was in the car. So we made this really nice amp rack. It's bolted to the car. It's not going anywhere, and the car sounds amazing. We also made him a quick release for the box right there. So with all that said, this car was a lot of work to go optical into the Mobridge, from the Mobridge into the Bit 1 Virtuoso, into 3 amplifiers, everything active. This car sounds amazing for the customer. I've been a fan of the product for a long time, but when it comes down to it, this car sounds really, really, really nice. And it doesn't have the craziest equipment. It has Milli Pros and K2s and a W7 and SR amps and a 1000, and it just sounds nice, complete. Sounds like it has a center channel, and there's no center channel. So if you're looking for something done, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. But you can also reach out. Sound deadening on this car is done nicely. Everything else is done. The customer's going to be really, 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 really happy, I believe. So don't forget, stay tuned for the next video.